Well, ladies and gentlemen, another sunny day. 2 in a row. Out of the last 12 episodes, only 2 have been sunny, and they've been in a row. Come talk to the people, Mike. Come talk to the people. People want to know how you've been and why you've been skipping out on so many sessions.
That's actually what I was gonna say. He says I don't show up, but the real reason is George and Javi will message each other and not the group chat between us three and let me know. So they'll show up and train, and then they're like, why didn't you show up? And I'm like, you didn't tell me there was gonna be a session. You didn't tell me what time. We always change up the times and stuff, so it's not my fault half the time, all right? That's it. That's all I wanted to say. I hope you guys enjoy the video.
So in today's video, we're going to be talking about the pay-to-play system, what it is, why it makes it difficult for a lot of players to make it into the professional ranks, and also just my personal thoughts on it. Before we start talking about that though, Georgie is actually going to start his YouTube channel up pretty soon. At least he says he's going to start it up. This is the fourth, is this the 4th or the 5th time that he says he's going to start his YouTube channel? As many times as I've said I'm coming out of retirement, that's how many times he started his YouTube channel. So go ahead and check him out and make sure you guys subscribe. So if you're outside of the United States and you aren't really familiar with what the pay-to-play system is here in the United States, it's pretty much... Moy, shut the f***. You're doing it in slow-mo. You don't need to talk through the whole thing. It's pretty much the fact that in order to play at a very good level in a club team, when you're playing youth soccer, you have to pay a lot of money because they can get very expensive. Whereas in other countries, a lot of these clubs are free. Getting trials at these clubs are free. If you make it onto the team's roster and you get to play, they won't charge you anything or very little. Here in the United States, it costs a lot of money. So just to give you guys an idea, I got this quote from Zlatan, who was asked about it in an interview, and he said, "It has to be said that the sport is expensive, very expensive. For example, in order for my children to play in a good football team, I have to pay $3,500 per child. It is not for the figure, but for the whole concept." If someone who made $7.2 million last season is complaining about how much he has to pay for his kids to play soccer, then you know that there's a problem. So the main problem with this is that you get a lot of talented kids who fall through the cracks and don't get chosen to play at these high-level clubs simply because they can't afford it or because their parents can't afford it. So when you think about that, think about how many possible athletes we could have been world-class footballers who just at the end of the day had to give up their dream because they just didn't have the money to play at these clubs. It's a massive issue, and it's an issue that you don't see very often in other countries, mostly because in other countries, football is the #1 sport. Everybody gets a fair chance to showcase their abilities, and they're able to move up the ranks a lot easier than they would here in the United States. So here's the problem, and it's actually very simple, and I've mentioned this word a million times probably already throughout this video. Is it's all about the money. And I'm not just talking about the money that you have to pay, but I'm talking about the money that the United States brings in that just isn't enough to be able to allocate so many resources into youth soccer. And the reason why it's not enough is because soccer is not the #1 sport in the United States. In every other major country, soccer is the #1 sport. There's so much money in the sport that they can allocate all this money to the youth development of that country, you know, to grow the national team and to make better players overall. All of our money is going towards American football, towards basketball, towards baseball. Now, the good thing is that the United States is a melting pot, and I think because we have a bunch of different nationalities and cultures and ethnicities, eventually soccer or football is going to be the #1 sport. However, you are starting to see a lot more American players playing abroad in really good European teams, playing in the Champions League, and it is growing and it is getting better. It's just a matter of time. Adding on to the problems of all the things that I've already mentioned is coaching development is really expensive. If a coach wants to get his licenses and go all the way to the A license or the pro license, it's going to cost a lot of money that oftentimes only clubs that are charging kids a lot of money are going to be able to cover. Clubs that don't have that much money and aren't charging the kids that much won't be able to cover a coach's licensing. And for example, I need to do my B license. That's the next license that I need to do. If I want to do the B license, it's going to cost me, I believe it's $3,000 just to take the course, and that does not include the 3 trips that I have to take to Kansas with the flights and the travel and the food and all that. I believe they do cover accommodation as far as like hotel, but they don't cover the travel fees. That's gonna be like $5,000-$6,000 that I'm gonna have to pay out of pocket just so that I can get my B license. If I want to get my A license after that, I think it's like $4,000 or $5,000 after that. So it's insane to charge these coaches this much money when they're not making that much money from coaching. If coaching as a profession was a good career path as far as a salary goes, then it wouldn't be that much of an issue. But the fact that we're charging coaches so much money prohibits them from developing and getting better, and that ultimately fails our youth development because the kids aren't getting as good of coaching as they could be if the education for these coaches was a lot more affordable.
Yeah. See, outside's here. Okay, that'll work.
Just on the other side of me. Just on the other side of me.
Yeah.
I had to compensate because you gave me a bad ball. You gave me a soft pass. I had to compensate.
Boy, I think I need the sub.
Moy, can you explain to me how this guy's a professional footballer?
Moy, can you explain to me how he cannot complete a pass? Look, what? Moy, just watch, please.
Moy's just gonna have to do this
Moy,
exercise by
Moy,
himself.
Moy, please watch. Yeah.
Yep. Oh, it's that quality. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was good. We got a good technique.
Moy, you see what I mean?
And when you think about other sports like football or basketball, all of the best kids that get recruited to play in these top colleges, they're getting recruited from high school. It's not like soccer where you have to play outside of high school, pay for an expensive club, and then get recruited that way. So that's why we don't really talk about the pay-to-play system when we're talking about American football or basketball, because all of those kids that get recruited to play at these big universities who end up getting drafted and going professional don't need to pay for really expensive clubs in order to get seen, in order to get scouted, in order to get really good development. You have a lot of really good high school football coaches, and the top colleges in the United States are looking at them through their high schools. So when you compare it to those sports, that's why there's a big disconnect, because in soccer, if you want to pay little money and play in high school instead of playing in club, a lot of the top recruiters are not even going to pay attention to you because you're not playing at a high level club.
Yeah.
So until soccer becomes the #1 sport in the United States, I think there's going to be a big problem, especially at the youth level. A lot of kids are going to continue falling through the cracks, and we're going to miss out on a lot of big potential talent just because they couldn't afford to play. So everybody's just got to do their part and try to help out in any way they can. Coach Javi's obviously doing the YouTube channel, trying to give you guys some free content so you can learn about the game, so you can learn about the tactical side, improve your technical side, get better as a footballer. And yeah, that's all we can really do at the moment. I told Moises that if he scores 3 out of the 8 soccer balls on me, I'll buy him a free pizza for today. Georgies is gonna roll out all the soccer balls. He has to score less than 50% and he gets a free pizza. But Coach Javi's goalkeeping skills, he's always got him in the locker. So.
Ready?
You ready?
Yep.
Okay. Oh!
Your camera. Oh, you got lucky. Oh no!
Relax. You got 3 shots now.
Come on! Okay. What the heck?
Last one, boy.
I did this on purpose so I can have the last one. Ready? Goodbye, Javi.
Oh, he's in his own head. I'm in his head.
What did I say?
Put the ball right here next time.
What did I say? I saved it for the last shot, and I said, goodbye, Javi.
So I really appreciate you guys watching this video. If you guys liked it, make sure you go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, and leave me some questions in the comment section as far as what type of videos or what content you guys want to see. If there's any educational type content that you guys are curious about, go ahead and leave that down there and I'll try to answer it in a future video. Until next time, and adios, muchachos.